6 p.m. I will call the Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge our new member, Amber. She won the election last week. We'll wait a couple of months, see if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but good luck.
Thank you.
We actually have her nameplate in place. Did you order her business cards?
Susan's taking care of it.
Susan's ordering, okay. So we'll have some business cards for you. All right. We have a ton of minutes that weren't done. Do you want to put those off for Bob, or do you want to do them? Okay. Well, okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Introduction to new board member. Look at that. That's done. You have something for this evening?
Please come, please, if you're going to speak, please come up here. I have a microphone.
The one at Brookfield Pizza?
Mm-hmm.
It's Brookfield Pizza.
Yep, I'm familiar with it.
90s.
Right.
And we were told by the water department that in order to discontinue billing, we'd have to hire a contractor to drill and physically disconnect the pipes.
We have
It's not feasible for us to do that.
been in discussion with the other two selectmen that aren't here this evening about how to go about disconnecting services. The water is available to you. You can turn it on at any time you want if you reactivate the building. In the meantime,
We don't plan on doing that.
in the meantime, it's covered under the hydrants that are out front. So if you ever have any fire emergency, you have water available for the building. So we need to discuss how we would go about having someone disconnect from the water system.
Okay,
But we don't have a policy in place for that.
okay. So we were told we have to hire someone ourselves and do it ourselves.
Well, the water superintendent is under the impression that you'd have to go all the way back to the main to take it out. Because if we take the meter out, you can throw a piece of pipe in there and turn it back on anytime you'd like. So in order to disconnect from the service, you'd have to disconnect the building from the service.
Because we're not going to do that.
So we'll bring it up for the discussion on June 1st when Bob is here. If we could call for a review of the water department policies, because there's actually 3 other businesses that want to get on the water system. They're having an issue with their private well, and they would like to know the process of getting onto the water system. So when we bring that up, we'll discuss getting off of the water system.
Oh, okay, because I originally thought it was enough that you just shut the water off and the meter gets disconnected.
When we shut the water off and disconnect the meter, you're still paid the minimum. We probably have 18 or 19 camps that are on the lake that they don't have insulation.
Okay.
So they pull the meters out every fall, and the whole winter time there's no meter there, but they still pay the minimum water usage.
Oh, what's the minimum water usage?
Currently, it's $325
$325
a quarter. Yeah.
That's what we're being billed. Yeah.
Yes, that's what you're being billed because you have a zero water use. But we do have to revisit that policy to see exactly how it would be disconnected, because there are quite a number of houses in town that are for sale. Nobody's living there, and they're still paying the minimum because the water is there and available. They still pay trash. They still pay water because it's there. It's available for you. So at any point in time, you can go into the building and, start renovations or rent it out or whatever you'd like to do.
Oh, okay.
So it's available to you.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So
Okay.
we will review that just to see what action we want to take.
Okay.
Because the water policies we have now, I believe, are 5 years old, maybe 6 years old. We haven't visited them since then. And we do have some people that want to be on the water system and some people that want to be off the water system.
Yeah.
We have to come up with a better policy.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. No problem.
Okay. How much we're gonna pay?
Currently in this quarter, it's 3 1/4. Right, it's 3 1/4 right now. We just spent $24 million putting in a water mains, tower, and treatment plant in. So we have some expenses.
the bills that we receive, we haven't paid it since October, because it's about $1,200 a year.
Mhm.
That's a little too much.
$1,300 a year,
I don't
actually.
mind paying the minimum. What
Right.
is it?
That is
That's
the minimum. That is the minimum.
So right now, the minimum, even if you use 0 gallons, is a flat rate.
Really?
Yep.
Up to, right now, it's up to 1,200 cubic feet is, per quarter, is $325. So,
$325.
but yeah,
Per quarter.
0 to 1,200 cubic feet. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
So June 1st, when we have our next meeting,
June 1st, we will review what we're doing and how and why.
you can stop in or after that.
Oh, okay. To find out your new policy, will you decide it then or?
We'll bring it up. Whether or not it gets voted on is a separate issue, but we'll bring it up.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks for coming. We want to get more people to town meetings. Select board. You, the viewers at home, come to the town meetings, please.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sorry.
You just said they haven't been paying since October.
Right.
I thought we updated the policy. When did they get a notice of non-payment? How long are we giving them?
They've already got a notice of non-payment. They're already paying
Okay.
penalties and interest. It's actually 12 months before it goes on to the tax bill.
Okay.
It comes onto the tax bill as a lien.
Because I know that was updated. I just didn't know what it stated. Like, and when do they get a notice to shut them off completely for non-payment? How long?
I think we've only done that once. And that, at some point in time, we'll bring that up. I know that Mr. Lovett from the Board of Health had a contact for us to do a title search. There's a piece of property in town that nobody's paid taxes on in probably 17 years. And we cannot legally take it for tax title because we haven't been able to notify the heirs. So the individuals that owned it had a son. The son passed away before the two individuals. The female party passed away, and there was some arrangement for another person to live with the older gentleman. When he passed away, she was there, and then she passed away. So we don't have a line of heirs
The original.
to reach out to because you have to notify them. The last piece of property, last two pieces of property that we took and auctioned off, we knew the heirs and we were able to send them all registered letters when we took the property. And then the other piece of property, it wasn't a house, but a piece of property, we had all the contact information for the gentleman. He had retired, I think, in Florida or something. So we were able to contact him and notify him. I know there's two houses in town that we're looking at taking for back taxes. And then there's another 3 lots that were never built on when there was a bunch of property developed on Podunk Road.
Yeah.
And those, once again, it's been over 30 years
Nothing.
since anything's been paid. But we did the first 2 and got them under our belt. And now we're actually taking action on the 3 lots because there's a lot less legal involved to take a lot than there is an actual dwelling. So those are in action. I know there's $15,000 in tax title that will be available as of July 1st. So then more action be taken from them.
Yeah, the only reason I asked about them not paying is, them wanting to disconnect. I'm assuming part of removing that policy, they would have to pay that bill off before disconnecting, or how would we go about that?
That's something we can discuss.
I'm just
I
gonna-
mean, it's a good point. If they don't pay, it goes on their tax lien.
Yep.
And if they do pay, then we would discuss whether or not we want to disconnect it. When Recap Services was in here, some of the things we were discussing with them is to get a set of policies or bylaws for, I brought up the fact that we have about 26 pieces of property in town that are on the water system but are not hooked to it. What recourse do we have to have them come onto the water system? You wouldn't want to have, for instance, Baker Hill. There was 6 or 7 new houses built up in there in the last 4 or 5 years. We didn't have water pressure. They didn't connect, and they have a well.
Yep.
Well, they have a brand new house and they put a brand new well in and they have their water softener and everything. They have a system. You can't just say you're on our system.
Yep.
But what about building permits or title change to mandate that they come onto the system? One of the other things we're discussing with recap is what would be the appropriate way to affix a minimum to people that weren't hooked in but had the fire suppression available. They have a hydrant. I don't have a hydrant. If you have a hydrant within 500 feet of your house, your property insurance is cheaper.
Correct.
My property insurance is more expensive because I don't have a hydrant within 500 feet. So there's got to be some way of recouping some of that. We spent $3 million on a water tank to get water pressure up to Baker Hill. You'd kind of like to get a little bit of that back from the people that you put the tower in for.
Correct.
It wasn't the only reason we changed the tower. The base was bad, and the whole column of water doesn't flush out. You're only using the top third of the water, so the bottom 2/3 become stagnant. With the lollipop we have now, you're drawing from the bottom, so you never get the stagnant water. One of the other things we're talking to recap about was the how to get people onto the system. Like I said, we currently have 3 businesses and a residence that have that their well isn't testing as well as they need it to. And then there was another business a little further down the road whose well isn't testing correctly. They were asking about coming onto the water system, but we have a moratorium on Route 9. We can't turn up Route 9. So we have to figure out whether or not they can come off the hydrants that are on that side of the road, if we can tee off of that, or if they have to wait, or if we can't tear the road up. If we tear the road up, we have to fix it.
Yeah.
So we have to think about policies and procedures, how we're going to go forward. Now that we have, the water treatment plant online and we have better water, we need to be able to bring new customers on. I mean, that's the basis of what we're trying to do, is to spread the debt out. So
Should we ask Jake to come to that meeting or discuss it and then send him? I feel like he should be part of that discussion about policy updates.
on July 1st, excuse me, June 1st, if you can have Jake come in and give us an update. We haven't had him into a meeting since we talked about his budget.
I feel like he should be here for that. Yeah.
So on the 8th, what about having highway and fire in? The 4 biggest budgets we have are water, highway, fire, and police. The police chief is in quite often. We usually see him at least once a month, but it's been a while since we've talked to highway. I specifically, if you want to notify him that one of the things we'd like to discuss with him is the results of the engineering work that we did on Mechanic, Depot, and Pleasant for the Complete Streets grant. We have a Complete Streets grant. It will pay for the sidewalks and curbing on Mechanic, Pleasant, and Depot. But the issue is the curb cuts and the sidewalks, curb cuts and crosswalks. If you picture the post office, you have a driveway to the post office, you can't be within 20 feet of it. Now you have a parking lot to the left of it for the apartment building, can't be within 20 feet of it. You have to put a crosswalk in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So that eliminates parking in front of the
Right there.
post office. Now, on the other side of the street, you have Mill Street that comes out.
Yep.
You have the crosswalk, and then in front of Denny Miner's house, there's a hydrant. So the parking spaces and where the curb cuts are going to be, I mean, that curbing is super expensive. We don't want to redo that. And then once you get around the corner, you head up towards the senior center. We need to know exactly and precisely where the curb cuts and crosswalks need to be so that we're not, I mean, it's a Complete Streets grant, and I think it's $529,000, as I recall, which would be enough to redo the sidewalks and the curbing. It wouldn't be enough to do the road, but at least we can do the sidewalks and curbing. Before we do that, we took $100,000 out of Chapter 90 to hire a traffic engineer or a road engineer. And they were in there. I know they've done all the surveys. I've seen them in their survey, and there's paint markings and all of that. I just want to know what the status of that is. As we get further into the year, I mean, is this something we're going to be working on this year? Or is this going to be next year?
That's what you want highway and for Wi-Fi.
Just for an update. We haven't talked to him in a while. Just find out how he's going. as far as his personnel and calls and number of calls for the ambulance and, whether or not we're able to staff and how many missed calls we have, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just those four big departments. I mean, we want to keep in touch with our department heads.
Highway, fire, water will come in on the first.
Water will be in on the first. We can have the update with them.
As well?
Well, police were just in 2 or 3 weeks ago, yeah. So it's just quarterly, we want to see our big department heads just to keep appraised of things, just so we know what's happening. I know highway, I talked to Mike last week about the 3 saddles that are left up in Bay Path Estates. We were able to use funding for the emergency repairs because we didn't have any blowouts when we put the tank online. We increased pressure by 29 PSI. We were kind of worried about that. We had $100,000 put in for emergency repairs. We didn't have any blowouts. So one thing that has been plaguing us for 30 years is the saddles that are on the services in Bay Path Estates. That was done by a private contractor. That was a housing development. And the planning board at the time said, you need to do this to this standard and all that. And we brought a saddle into the supply house. I'd never seen anything like it before. Where in the world did you get these? It was a band with 1 bolt that had the service come out of it. And they just let go.
Is that what let go in the fall back there up in that area?
They have.
Where Bay Path Road meets, is that Dunbrook right there? It was right in that section.
Yeah. That was a, so usually what happens is it's when the frost heaves it.
Yeah.
So it's usually at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday or,
Friday,
2 a.m. on a Saturday. So Andy Lavasher and I called him up one night. I said, hey, there's a water leak up right in front of the Josty's house. Let's go up there. So we went up and looked, and they're scraping and scraping and scraping and scraping. And I said, don't you guys have a cyber tooth, just the single frost ripper? They said, no, we don't have one. And they're just beating the ground with the backhoe, trying to get through the frost to get down there. They got down there, and sure enough, the band clamp had let go. So we had Halleck, who was our contractor for the side streets. He went in there and he changed, I believe it was 24 out of 27 that needed to be done. And most of them are done, but there's 3 that weren't done. I want to keep on top of that so that, in the future, we don't, 4 o'clock in the morning on February 1st, we don't want to have, all hands on deck in there. So we don't want to let those go by the wayside, because once you say that saddles are all changed, we want to make sure the saddles are all changed. And then go over, how he's going to be, what his summer projects are.
Okay.
We have the quote for paving. We need to find out what the actual repair is going to be on Route 9 when we have to do it. One of the other things I'd like to bring up, I'm going to be talking to Jake tomorrow. I don't know if you're available at 1:30. Ty and Bond is going to be at the water treatment plant to talk about the painting issues they have. If you'd like to show up there a little early and get a tour of what we're doing and what we're spending money on. It's a $9.5 million facility. I brought up last year, I would like to have an open house for the water treatment plant and the new water tower to get people to see, what we're doing with our money. It's a $9.5 million project, and the paint is splattered everywhere. And it's an epoxy paint, and it's all over the stainless steel. It's all over the piping. It's just, it doesn't look like it's worth $9.5 million. So we're discussing that with Jake.
Okay.
And the Ty and Bond and the contractor and the painting contractor. So
Okay.
we'll be discussing that. But it's just a chance to see what we're doing down there. But I would like to see if we can have an open house. I don't know if it would be feasible to do it the same day as the fireworks. So like after the parade, before the fireworks, if you had an open house at both facilities between, noon and 5 or noon and 4, just because everybody's going to be in town,
Yep.
whether or not that would be feasible, or we could do it some other time. But it would be nice now that both facilities are done to have an open house just so people could see what we got down there. Also, I'd like to show you the old well versus the new well, so that we're talking about the base that needs to be repaired and the check valve that has given us a headache, just so you can visually see what we're talking about. The base 15 years ago, we pulled the pump and motor out, repaired the motor, and we pulled the pump out. The base came with it. All the concrete came with it. So we were planning on being down for 3 days. We ended up being down for 13 days. And we were getting water from North Brookfield at the time. And they re-poured the base. I said, is the concrete going to cure enough? Don't worry about it. They put it all back together and it's cracked. So we have an issue with it. We want to make sure that it's either precast or adequately cured before we put it back on, because it is a vibrating issue. You know, concrete doesn't like to vibrate, and when it's green, it really doesn't like to vibrate. So one of the things we have before us is change order number 4. It's for $16,000. It is light pole credit that we didn't need. We did modify a light pole, portable eye wash pump station, sensors at the pump station, and a heater installation. Originally, our well house had an electric heater, and we now have propane to run the generator. So Jake asked to have a propane heater put in. We actually bought that out of our repair and maintenance budget, and now it's an issue with having it hooked up. The plumbing contractor feels that it's needed to be done in a certain way, and the electrical contractor. So we're paying for it. So one of the issues we had, we didn't want to sign this and have it put on if we were going to have an issue with the emergency contaminants grant. We're holding money back to make sure that the $497,000 that we have, 496, 800, whatever it is, that we have already approved, and then there's 3,200 or something that we can do additional work if we can find something that meets their requirements. Donna's going to come in a couple of minutes, so she can go over that with us just to see where we're at.
Okay. Yeah, I saw her email, so.
Yeah, we want to make sure that,
I remember.
you know, that the emergency contaminants grant, I don't know if you want to look at that. The emergency contaminants grant is,
Andy gave me a copy.
oh, you do have one, okay. The emergency contaminants grant is meant for a project that you're planning and going out to bid. We happen to get the grant, and we're 3/4 of the way through the project. Now we're 97% through the project, and we don't have funds in our account yet. So we're trying to stuff it in without being late, affecting our bond rating. So we're trying.
So where Mary Danielson, we were saying, can this get reviewed, hopefully approved?
Right.
So we're.
I'm going to be talking to her tomorrow. We're going to have Donna come in and explain the ins and outs of, they said you can pay it out of available funds, just don't put it on the SRF grant. And when the funding is available, hopefully by the end of the fiscal year. If it's not by the end of the fiscal year, what do you do? Because available funds won't be available after July 1st. And it's just,
Did Bob get a chance to talk to Mary? I know last meeting he said he was going to try to call and get more of an in scope of how that could be paid, because that was his question.
I know Donna had talked to her quite a bit about that. We want to cover our bases to make sure that if we have $500,000 available to us in a grant with no strings attached, as and we don't have to pay any money back, we want to make sure that whatever we're signing is covered under the grant and not by the SRF, because we don't want to put any more in the SRF. You know,
I think Donna told me to go get her, so do you want me to go grab her?
Yeah.
Through the chair, Sharon, I know you said you generally don't want to be on video, but you are speaking, so it's okay. Sorry. Just want everyone to know who's talking. You'll get used to it. You should wave to the camera. No, not you. Through the chair. Mr. Chairman. Wave to the camera.
Oh, yeah. I
Hi.
in public, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's fun. We love it.
if anybody is actually watching this on YouTube, if you can give us some feedback, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
Having an issue getting information out to the general public.
I can help with that.
The older generation is looking for newspapers, the younger generation, the next generation is looking for Facebook, the next one's looking for Snapchat and Instagram, and there's just so many different avenues.
I humbly suggest a both and approach, if possible.
Let's start with YouTube and see where it goes.
Well, I think the new leader, is there any particular papers in town? Because, what would an older resident read that would?
Telegram and Gazette, they
Telegram?
deliver it every morning at 5 o'clock out in the snowstorm, but I don't even think they do that.
Well, well,
Do they print paper or is it just online?
No, my neighbor still gets it because when he goes
I know.
away,
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Yeah.
no, the papers still exist.
yeah.
Um,
And then I mean,
They're dying out.
Our house every Thursday.
It used to take an hour and 20 minutes every Sunday morning to go through the paper, and we stopped getting it when it took 12 minutes.
Oh.
So
excuse me, I would like to kindly ask, if you're speaking, I know public presentations, I haven't set up a microphone at the table yet. That'll be business for a different day, but if you could just make sure that it's audible.
we're just asking about the change order Ford. It's in front of us. It's $16,000. Are we good on paying any of the $496,000 that was approved for being funded through the emerging contaminants? I remember seeing an email that we can pay it out of available funds, just don't put it into the SRF loan, or do we want to wait until the money for the emerging contaminants actually hits our account?
They're not going to give it to us until, it's a reimbursable grant. So they're not going to give us the money, just hand it out to us. It's a reimbursable grant. We have to make, that's very common with 95% of grants. So we have to
We've
make.
been told for the last year it's not a reimbursable grant. You have to have a fresh invoice.
So, Andy, I just got involved with the email that I received a week ago. So whatever's been discussed with the board, I've just got involved with that. So it's a reimbursable grant. I don't know.
That was my confusion all along. It wasn't a reimbursable grant. That was my whole
Mary
issue I had.
with me when I was questioning if we were supposed to make payment on those two, that it was a reimbursable grant last week. So I didn't put, we took it off last week and so I just want you to know that it was on so that the right decision was made this evening.
So we can pay any of that $496,000 that they have approved items, because I know the first time they put in $500,000 and they took out like the lab chairs and a cabinet or something and, a desk, whatever it was. They took a bunch of stuff out and then they redid a bunch of stuff. No, this was the emerging contaminants, because it's a $500,000 grant and it was only for emerging contaminants. And they just took like the first $500,000 off the contract and they sent it back all marked up, which wasn't allowed.
Andy, I've not been involved in any of that communication, which I'm not saying I needed to. I can't help you with this question. We've paid nothing towards the grant. What we had on the warrant last week, that the board decided not to make payment until further discussions were made. And we were making payment, because if it was on the warrant, we were making payment. We took off. So as for requisition 18 and 19, I just need direction as to what you want for this evening.
If they are in fact reimbursable and we can make the payment and you can pay it through the grant rather than through the FRS funding, then we're good to go. It's just we were holding that back because we were told that it was not a reimbursable grant and that it had to be paid. I know the talk back and forth between Bob and Mary and the EPA was whether or not they had to have the invoices, or we just had to tell them what the invoices were. And I guess the answer is just tell them what the invoices were and they can reimburse it. So we could have made these payments back in November, December then, apparently. Or did we have to wait until it was?
You had to wait till the grant was finalized, that grant. There wasn't a grant. No, I believe there was more work that needed to be done before now. That I believe it's just been finalized. There was paperwork you need. So no, we couldn't have made the payment. with the assumption the grant was gonna come through. We were optimistic, we heard, but there wasn't anything formal until,
Okay, how confident are you that you're gonna be reimbursed before July 1st, or is that gonna, do you have a contingency for that? So if we pay this stuff out of available funds and the grant for somehow got tied up and we didn't have the funding before June 30th, are we still good, or?
so I'm.
Does that mess everything else up?
Allowed to do a 60-day accrual, so we should receive that grant funding by July, within the month of July. So that, as long as we do it within July, we will be
Yeah.
all set.
I know 3 weeks ago, they were still talking about 6 to 8 weeks out. So hopefully that timeline is still going.
Yeah.
And we're now 5 to 6 weeks out, hopefully, so. All right, that was
Now,
one
I don't know
question.
who's doing the reimbursable paperwork. That has not,
I was just gonna say, like,
yeah, I don't know who is responsible for that.
All right, the other thing we wanted to discuss is the end of year transfers.
Okay.
If you could just go over that for sake, just to. You can do end of year transfers between May 1st and July 15th, and it can come out of anywhere and go into anywhere.
Any appropriate line item, it can come out of, only thing it can't come out of is, electric light, which we don't have.
Okay.
But a community has the electric light department for the town.
Oh, it's like an enterprise fund like Holden has?
But yes,
Okay.
it's just a lawsuit and stuff. So, the process before this week has always been that department heads submit them to me, and, I sign off on them. But if they come to me with no to or from, I can't sign off on them, so I give it back to Mike. But apparently you have a plan to fill out the from.
Well, we were going to discuss, what we wanted to do. We don't want to take it out of hazardous waste tree removal from highway, but most of the other stuff is going to be chewed up before the end of the year. The two that I was looking at were vocational school tuition and vocational school transportation. Do you know if we've got the last bill in for voc, or do we still have one bill due?
Excuse me, don't adjust just for it. It's about 5,600.
5,600, not 1,000. Is that a monthly or?
Transportation.
No, tuition.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Because that was 120,000, we've only spent 54, so I imagine that was the first payment, so there should be another payment due of about the same, about 54,000, so, okay. And then you just put 5,600 in, there was 11,000, so there's probably, 5,000 left in that for tuition, and then, veterans.
So Aaron, the Mass General Law allows this, it's
the move.
been about a 20-year thing, to avoid the needs of special town meetings for communities. It's to help them not have to have a special town meeting for a $5,000 expense,
Okay.
basically. So.
Or 18,
There's no limit on
18
it. I'm
cents.
just saying,
Yeah.
typically, it's,
We had an article for 18 cents for postage
Right.
for a constable that posted a warrant.
It just allows you to move the funds without
without town meeting.
all that work.
But it's regulated, it has to be between May 1st.
So-
And both selectmen and finance committee have to approve.
Right, so we would sign it, and then Wednesday, FinCom would be meeting, so they can. So here is veteran services. We have 30,000 that we had allocated.
Yep.
And so far this year, they've only spent
Yeah,
680.
I was in FinCom.
So there's 29,000 left in that. So, library wages is a bunch left, but that we typically wouldn't touch either that or the vocational school. So there is 65,000 left in tuition, 11,000 left in transportation, but if she just did a $5,600 bill, that means there's only 5,000 left in that. And if she's only paid 54 or put in for 54, that means there's another 54 probably due. So that means there's only about 10,000 left in that one. So if we were to have that paperwork from Mike, we'd probably want to take that from Veterans Services. And then there's, how many transfers have you got so far? Those are the only three? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that was it. Thank you.
When you send this up, if you approve this, do you have to specify what account you're hoping to make the transfers from?
Well,
Or
that's what she's saying. Usually when Mike puts this in,
he puts
he
what
would
to
have the
where?
from.
Okay,
But if you look at his accounts, most everything he has, he doesn't have much money left in that. So municipal property, as you see, through May 7th, he only had $195, and he is
12,000.
12,000.
Yeah. And the whole for it.
Wow. Yeah. 12,000?
12,000 here, 12,000 here,
What was the other one?
14,000.
Wow, that's way more than I thought. I thought he had more than that in there. Municipal meet. Oh, that's right. He says in highway he only had 1,000 left in his maintenance account. All right. Highway. Repair and maintenance. Yeah, he's only got 3,400 for equipment. Building. So if we wanted to take the electricity and the fuel out of the oh 1-543-577-010 01 010 543-5770-10 01 543.
Is that veterans?
Yes, that is Veteran Services Benefits, and there was a balance of 29,000 in that. 5770-10. So there's enough for the,
Electricity.
well, we could do the fire alarm and electricity out of that. If you would like to make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to transfer funds from the Veteran Service and Benefits account to cover the Highway Department's municipal maintenance and repairs and the town electricity end of year transfer.
I will second that. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
If not, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So today is the 18th.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have to find something for
Fuel.
12,000 for fuel.
We have some bills that I have no money for us that I think I have to do year-end transfers for.
Okay, what was that for?
We've got 2,000 just for putting on the new plant and my IA insurance.
For insurance, yeah?
I've got Staples office, $91, not too bad. Blackboard Connect, that us, that would come out of us?
Yes.
That's 3,330.
Blackboard Connect, I believe that's the reverse 911.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the last is 106 again for a change on when the Chief's Explorer and that got put on.
Yeah, for insurance, yeah, okay.
So those are ours that I know. My question was going to be, do I put these as year end?
So if you'd like, we can split vocational school tuition and vocational school transportation and do 6,000 out of each. That way neither one of them would be short. I'm anticipating another vocational bill for tuition between now and the end of the year. 56,000 seems a little light. 54,000, I'm sorry, seems a little light. It should be more than that for the 7 students we have at Tantascwa. So those two accounts would be 010-340-5683-07.
And is that transportation or tuition?
That's tuition. 010-340-5684-07 is transportation.
So what are you taking out of each?
6 out of each would be appropriate without shorting either one.
Now that we for fuel.
Yep.
That'd be for fuel, yeah.
Want me to make a motion?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to transfer $6,000 out of the student tuition, what is it called?
Right.
Vocational school tuition and vocational school.
account, and out of the vocational transportation account in the amount of $6,000 to total $12,000 to cover the shortage and end-year transfer for Highways Department's town fuel.
I second that. Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You'd like to sign that?
Sign this one. Then this goes to FinCom, correct? Is that the next?
Yeah,
Wednesday?
Sharon make copies of it and then get it to FinCom for Wednesday. Yeah, they'll be meeting Wednesday night. All right. Are you familiar with Chubb?
I am not.
Okay. We
Or am I?
we had an issue for the last 4 to 5 years. There's 2 items in insurance. It's liability, fidelity, and then there's workman's comp.
Okay.
Chubb is not workman's comp. Chubb is a disability for public safety officers, ambulance, fire, and police. They're not covered by workman's comp. So it is a separate policy. And it's a little over $40,000. We haven't funded it in the last 3 years because the only 2 line items we have is workman's comp and fidelity liability. So we haven't been covering it. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've have to put money in at a special, do year-end transfers, and then usually at the first cleanup we have in the fall, we have to put more money in. So this year's budget that we're going to be taking up on June 10th has Chubb funded for $41,000. So it's adequately funded.
Okay.
So somehow or other, this kept falling through the cracks and we haven't funded it. But it is expensive. Now that we have 6 full-time police officers, we have 3 full-time firefighter, EMT, firefighter, paramedics. And it also covers all the other firefighters that come in on call basis, and it covers all the rest of the EMTs and paramedics that we have on per diem basis, and it covers all of our part-time police officers also. We have used this. We had a paramedic that was had a medical issue. He was out for almost 2 years, and we were able to fund his salary through this.
Okay.
So once again, police officers don't get workman's comp. So if we ever have an injured police officer,
You can access this.
yeah, this covers it. So
And you said there's 41 budgeted for this fiscal year coming up?
That's your book, if you want to look it up. You can
I have two books.
practice your tabs and all of that. So if you go to the budget tab, you can see that police department is, I'm sorry, it's insurance. Oh, sure, it's insurance, right?
It should be under ours.
No, it's not under I for insurance. What's it under?
Oh,
Property insurance, that's where it is. It's on page 40, maybe?
is it property or is it under health insurance and benefits?
No, it'd be health insurance, it'd be property. 'Cause
Okay.
that's the same line item. Yeah, it's page 39, actually.
Okay. All right.
So here is our line items right here. See where it says, are you on page 39 or 40?
Page 39 it says here, but mine,
Yeah, property insurance, property liability, fidelity.
no, mine's
On the
different.
next page.
Is yours numbered different than mine? There it is. Oh, I have two 39s. 39, 39.
Okay.
All right, on this.
So it's
39.
property liability, fidelity insurance, and then the other one is workman's comp. And it says Chubb Police Fire Workman's Comp will be going up with a new paramedic car, has been paid through property liability insurance. So that, the 96,000 line item is not what property insurance is. It's much lower than that. It was like 70,000. So even throwing an extra 26 at it, it was 40 grand. That's why we kept running short on it. So now putting those both together and calling it 126, that should be enough for property
cover this,
and
yeah.
for Chubb.
Okay,
So it's just, I wanted to make sure that we adequately funded it this year because we haven't funded it properly in 4 or 5 years. We just want to make sure that it's a known bill.
If you're going to sign it, it's in your signature one.
What's that?
If you're going to- everybody's in sign.
In the signature. All right, would you like to make a motion for the Cabot risk strategies? It's 40,874.
just write that down. 40,874.
It's on this page if you're.
And just tell me the number.
Next page, right
Yep,
there.
right there. Perfect. All right, I'll make a motion that the chairman signs the Habit Risk Strategies policy. Is it a policy?
Yes.
Yeah, policy for the amount of $40,874.
I second that. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, hopefully. This will be adequately funded for this year. We don't have to keep. We have a quote from Regent.
Through the chair. It says about IT services. Does that have anything to do with me whatsoever?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
This is from Steve Rich, President of Regent Informational Services. We had him come in and give us a discussion on what we're paying. Specifically, what I was worked up about was the email addresses. We pay something like $29 per month per email address for every email address we have, and it's just an astronomical amount. However, because of the amount of encryption in the cloud, and it keeps it forever, and there's a lot to it, I understand that, but it's still a silly amount of money. So once he came in and talked to us about what he does and how he would do it, and what we're doing right now with CM Geeks, it's about the same. We've had CM Geeks for 25 years.
not that my input matters much, but the little bit of time that I've been here and the struggles that I've had,
Mhm.
I can't say enough about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive. It's not something that I like to spend money on. It is what it is. I mean, we have a lot of data in the town hall, and they do everything for the police department. They do everything for the town hall. There's a lot of data. They go through all of our computers. I did bring up with the library last week about their computers. They're not covered by Sam Geeks. We just want to make sure that if any of their stuff gets in with our stuff, that it's adequately protected. But they say that they have their own server and it's completely 100% separate from us, and they have nothing to do with us. So as long as we don't get any viruses coming over from their end, that's fine. So we asked them for a quote. This is their quote.
Okay.
But, we have Sam Geeks. We're already budgeted for it. So, it's just to from time to time, your common vendors, you still want to know whether or not
What the prices look
you're
like.
getting
Yeah.
the service at the price that we need to. So.
Okay, so you have your email, I've got.
I did see that. Thank you.
So you do have an email address?
I do.
Once that's set up, if you could send her some of the pertinent information that we've been discussing for the votes that are coming up. If you could send her the 4 billing cycles that we did last fiscal year so that she can see what they were.
You said for water?
The 4 water. You remember the book
Yep.
1 that I had you take out?
Yes.
Column B and C, which is the names and addresses.
Yep.
We sent that to recap. I have a column B and C from the last billing cycle.
Yep.
And I have from the town clerk's office, everybody from the census and their birth date so that I can correlate. Unfortunately, these are by dates, not by street address. This is by the what they were using, not by street address. So I'm going to have to go through all 636 of them. And I've done it before. It's not that big a deal. I'll just sit down and do it.
Okay.
So that as we're looking at what we're discussing, I brought up last week, we have 2,150 people in town. And we don't have elderly housing, and we don't have a big upstart community. There's no colleges in the area, so we have an influx of younger people. So the demographics are pretty straight across the board. 25% of the people in town are under 20, 25% of people 20 to 40, 25% of the people are 40 to 60, and 25% of the people in town are over 60. And those statistics should go right across water users and non-water users. There should be 25% of the people that are on water should be over 60. 25% of the people on water should be over 60. So that's one of the things that recap. If you could send her all the recap stuff, that email chain, just to bring you up to speed on that. That is a company that does water rate studies,
Yeah, I know. I was here with them. I'm actually the one who contacted them.
Right. So it's important to get them all the information.
Is
in
it
a
the same
timely
woman
manner.
who we met
Yes.
doing it? Okay.
She actually came back. Bob and I met with her.
What's her name? Melissa? No.
No clue.
Denise, Danielle.
I have her card at home,
Something
so
like
it's
that,
still her. Okay.
So she came in and we were discussing it, and she said, how many of your 636 water services are single family? How many are multifamily? How many are commercial? And we don't have that data. So I was going to go through the entire list and
Get that.
establish that data. How many are seniors? How many are single family? How many are multifamily, and how many are commercial? One of the things that we've been working on with Jake is we have some non-working meters in town. There's a lot of the users that are at zero. If you just want to take a gander at this one right here. So I know this guy, the house is for sale. This guy right here, the house is for sale. This one right here was the old parsonage, not using it right now. This one. So there's a lot of the houses that are either vacant or are summer cottages. Here's one that's a summer cottage. I know that one. I know this one's a summer cottage.
Yeah.
I know this one's a summer cottage. So if they have a summer cottage, that would be why they're at zero. But we do have one, this one right here I know of, that has a water meter in it, but it's not transmitting.
Okay.
So Jake had gone through a lot of them and changed the endpoint, and they started working. Some of them, it's just the endpoint. Some of them, we need to put an antenna outside because they're not reading and picking up. If he goes there into the basement, he can get a download from the meter. The meter is working. It's just not downloading into our system.
Okay.
So there's some that he has to go to get a download to get a good number.
Yep.
We want to make sure that we're billing for the water that's being used and not billing for the water that's not being used. We have approximately, I believe Jake said it was 19 meters that get pulled every fall for summer cottages. And then there's another dozen or 15 that are vacant houses. Once again, if it's a vacant house, it could be occupied at any point in time. If it's for sale, it's for sale. If nobody's renting it, nobody's renting it. If you're out of business right now, you're out of business now, but not in the future. We have to go up with a policy for that because we need to know what to tell people when they say, hey, take my meter out, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, exactly what she was just saying.
We want to make sure that we don't lose a bunch of our water users because we have to pay for the system. So, all right.
Let's go back to
Regent, we're just taking it under advisement. Thank you for bidding.
let them know.
It's not anything different from what we have. What is it, CMRPC delegate? Is it for more delegates? They got you, they got the assessor, so the assessor has to change. The Board of Health chair would change because he's no longer on the Board of Health. Council on Aging, should be a Council on Aging member, not the Activities Director. Conservation Committee Chair is good, Mike Olson's good, Mike Siri's good. Jeff Beauchamp is no longer our DPW water. Fire Chief should be on there for Chief Messier. Planning Board delegate. Police Chief should be on there.
DPW water, it would be Jake, right?
Right, it's no longer Jeffrey Beauchamp, but it's the same water.
Yeah.
It's the same,
I'm just making sure we have an update list so that they have an update list.
Yeah.
Mark is leaving. No, Mark.
yeah, they're not gonna meet for the first time until June 1st.
Establish who their chair will be at that point in time.
Right.
Okay.
Fire Chief should be Chief Messier.
Yeah.
Police Chief should be Chief Lazarick. Yeah, other than that, it's good.
So I can make changes.
If you would, mark it up. Board of Health, you can leave blank for now because we don't have Board of Health. Assessor, it's the same address, but it's now Bill Mitchell. Council on Aging should be whoever's the chair of the Council on Aging, not their Activities Director. She's their employee. DPW Water should be changed. Fire Chief, we can add. Police Chief, we can add. Okay.
Why not Board of Health? Isn't Jim Lovett the chairman?
I
Through the chair, yes.
do not
Love it.
know. Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm working.
Who
Hold on a moment.
who just didn't get reelected? Was that Mark?
Mark did.
I'm not sure. I'm not privy to that, but I've been working with Mr. Lovett in other relevant things.
Right. So Board of Health Chair, you would cross out Mark Malone because he's not in there anymore. And Board of Health Member, you can leave that for now because he's still a Board of Health Member. We just don't know who the chair is.
Do they need to reorganize?
Yes, Mark
They have a
didn't
new
seek
member.
re-election and there's a new member.
Are we intending on reorganizing or what's?
We're going to reorganize on June 1st when we have a full board.
Sure.
So,
Was Keith Audette's the new?
yeah, Keith Audette is the new. Yeah. We're going to reorganize on June 1st. So by not reorganizing, the chair and the clerk say the same, the member becomes the member. So on first, we'll reorganize.
Just a question. Are these seating arrangements flexible? Like if I wanted Amber to sit over here, like would that, just thinking ahead, we can talk later.
I mean, you can tell Bob. That's up to.
I mean, if it's at the discretion of the chair.
What would the purpose be?
Well, if I'm ever absent, I was hoping to coach Amber on how to
I
have
would
meetings
be
recorded.
completely opposed to that. We would
I
have
know.
to find somebody else to do it.
Fine.
The
I attend my
activity,
resignation. Okay, I'm
the
kidding.
activity that you're doing would distract greatly from the discussion and the conversation,
Okay,
which is why, rather than having the administrative assistant be trained to do that, we would rather have a disinterested third party
yes,
just running the board without disturbing the meeting.
absolutely. I'm just,
He was talking about turning it on and off, right?
it's literally just log into the website. I can tell you how to do it. It's something you set up, ready, steady, go. And I'm just trying to think of how we can still have meetings going in my absence. I'm going on vacation out to a conference in sometime in June, so I'm just thinking ahead on how we can make sure these are still here.
We can discuss that
Yeah.
at some point. But, all right, so that would be the update for the CMRPC delegates. Just for your information, I had I had her download it. This is what I was discussing for the last year and a half. This is just an overview from mass.gov Water Resources Commission on how to incentivize water use, how to set water rates, and stabilizing revenue, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's important that that comes into the discussion rather than this is the way we've always done it, because that gets a little out of hand. We want to make sure that what we do is withstands up to scrutiny. So if you could review that at your leisure. Mildred Smith is on here. At some point in time, I've known Millie Smith my entire life, and she is currently our oldest resident. Our other oldest resident passed, and I would like to present the cane. Mildred Smith was born on June 9th, 1928. She's currently our oldest resident. So at some point in time, I would like to have a ceremony to present her the Boston Post cane. Usually Representative Berthume and Senator Durant usually go to those. So we have been doing them at the senior center. I'll have to check to see if she attends it or she's able to attend it. If not, we'll have to make other arrangements. We have done them at the private residences at times.
Okay.
It's a good photo op and it recognizes, some of our longtime residents. She actually lives across the street from you
Where's Mildred live?
in the farmhouse at the golf course.
Oh, is that where she lives up there?
Yeah,
That's
that-
a beautiful home. I
Her
love that home.
husband ran the golf course for years, and her son.
There you go. So she lives there with him then? Is that?
They don't live there. Their daughter, Janice Smith, is now Janice Weigel.
Okay.
Her husband, I believe, they reside there with her. So,
I didn't know she was right there. Look at that.
Millie was.
I have the two oldest residents on my road, both of them then. Because this is the Darwin, wasn't she the last one?
No, it was Marion Marola was the last one. She passed away. I'm sure Joan Bedard at one time or another was the.
Yeah, she rode in the parade, don't you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
She ran the Happy
She did.
Day Nursery School for forever.
I
So.
feel like most of the townspeople went to her nursery.
I didn't. I was the one that didn't. It wasn't mandatory. My mother passed away right before I was supposed to start kindergarten, and I bounced all over the place. So I never actually ended up going to kindergarten. So
So you're going to check with her and get.
I'll actually through her daughter. I'll make
Find out what
arrangements.
that's-
Yeah,
okay.
I'll go through Janice to try to make some arrangements to that. Important to recognize. All right, the DOT letter. This notifies Independence Day. So if you would like to make a motion for that, we can send that to the DOT. When we shut the highway down, we have to let them know.
I will make a motion to send a letter to the DOT to let them know about our 4th of July celebration.
I will second that. All those in favor?
I
Vote aye.
Are they gonna have a rain date like they usually do or no? Because they're doing a 2-day event.
Generally, the Heather Lasky, she does that event, and she usually takes care of all the details. If you so desire, you can ride on one of the cars, or you can march if you want. So I'll be for the Memorial Day. I don't know if you're going to participate in the
Heather, go ahead.
25th. Would you like to do one of the ceremonies?
Sure.
I did them both last year just because I'm always there.
Totally up to you.
It's a little inconvenient if I got to hand somebody the gun and go over. I'm
I can help out with that. That's fine.
The American Legion. So I didn't know if you wanted to participate in the 9:30 at Podunk.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then, we'll be going up to the other cemetery at 11 o'clock. I'll be marching with the veterans, with the American Legion. And then I can do the honor roll at that one if you want.
Okay.
And then on the
Podunk.
4th of July parade, the festivities, they usually have Betsy running. I don't know if you want to hop on Betsy, ride with the firemen at the front of the parade. Generally, I'm forced to bring one of the tractors down with hay wagon and 9 million kids on it. I usually stop in front of Erica Gross, and
Throw a bunch of kids.
Kingston runs out. So I've never done a parade where he hasn't come out and joined me.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Who's Betsy?
Take care of kids. What's that?
Who's Betsy?
Betsy is our 1928
Fire
La
truck.
France.
Not a person.
Okay.
Betsy is the
She's the antique.
Fire Association has rebuilt that truck numerous times, but right now your neighbor keeps it running. So,
So Amber's gonna ride on it.
well, it's an opportunity if she so desires. So,
We should do it.
See, I get a chance. Yeah, because doesn't Jim drive it during the parade?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought he did.
All right.
Usually we sit on my front porch and wave at one because we have the front row seat right there.
All right. So we have before us the warrant for the annual town meeting.
Yep.
And it needs to be signed so that it can be posted. Now, for a special town meeting, the warrant must be posted 14 days before. And for an annual, it's only 7 days prior to. I find that a little strange, but that's the law. Usually a special is, half a dozen articles on it and you're transferring from here to there. And the annual, that's where you're setting all the budgets for the year. And, you'd think it'd be, but it's just 7 days. So would you like to make a motion for the annual town meeting warrant?
I will make a motion to sign the annual town meeting warrant. The meeting is on June 10th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
That is correct. At the
Elementary school.
Brookfield Elementary School, Wednesday, the 10th of June at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay. I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then we'll see if Glenn is around to post that. If not, they usually call me to post it. I am also a constant.
Sharon on that. I know how much that.
Meeting warrant. Karen Barad has resigned from the playground committee.
Is there anything further you need from the playground committee regarding her resignation?
Do you have a letter from her?
She does not have a letter. She gave a vocal resignation. Do you need a letter?
Generally, we can just carry her as a member until the appointment and just not reappoint her. Or if she wants to send us a letter. We have had in the past, not to put any particular committees on, they said, so-and-so didn't show up at our meeting 3 meetings in a row. She's off. We want to reappoint this person, and come to find out, they were in the hospital or they were in Florida, or, they weren't able to attend. So rather than a verbal, if we can either get it in writing from the person or just not reappoint. One of the things I'd like to bring up for the June 1st, in our policies and procedures, we did change, it was never written down. One of the things that bothered me was appointments. When does it start? When does it end? If you're going to make a commitment and you want to know exactly how long you're on the hook for, So all appointments will be made during the month of June and be sworn in by July 1st. And the term of the appointment will run July 1st to June 30th
Match with,
of the date of appointment. So if it's a 3-year appointment, it'd be 3 years. If it's a
Okay.
1-year appointment, it's 1 year. So if we can get all the appointment cards made up for June 1st, it's fairly quick to go through them. If you take the annual town report and you make a copy of the appointments, we can just go through and say, everybody on planning board and everybody on rec and everybody on parks, and we can just go through it. That way we can sign them and get them into the town clerk and everybody can get reappointed. Just to be the devil's advocate, if we had, for instance, the parks, if we had nobody that was appointed and sworn in on parks and they had the swim program and God forbid anything ever happened, we want to make sure that whoever's in charge, rec, if you're playing the rec over the summertime, you want to make sure that the people on rec are sworn in. Same thing with, all the rest of them, conservation, et cetera, et cetera.
so back to, just real quick, regarding Karen, since it was appointed by the Board of Selectmen, that committee, do you need us to find another member? Because now, so Larry Gordon's an alternative.
How many members do you have?
So there are 4 now with Larry being an alternative.
So that would be 5. So if needed,
Wait, me. Yep, there's,
but if needed, you had a tiebreaker.
yeah, so I just want to make sure if you
It's
need.
just we're discussing one of our neighboring towns, their finance is 11 members.
Well, this is the weird
It becomes a
one.
little cumbersome. You want to have an odd number. 5 is actually the perfect committee, 7 if you have to.
Which is why we had 6 originally, and it made it hard because Larry wasn't going to be able to show up all the time, so it was going to throw off our vote. So we made him, so 5 is fine, you're good with
So
that.
if you have 5, your quorum is 3.
Yep.
And then you have an odd number if you have, a hot topic.
We just want to know if you need us to find
between the-
someone else.
Between the green and the red swing, if it's a really contentious argument, you want to have an odd number so that you don't have, it's 2 to 2 and everybody throws their hands up and that's it. We're not doing anything. We're out of here.
No swing.
If you can't decide between the red and the green seat,
Okay,
So as long as you have an odd number, it's fine.
perfect.
And then, we'll be making nominations next week if we can, in 2 weeks. If we do all the appointments, then that's it. It's done.
Okay.
Did you happen to make a policy and procedure book for her to
No, I
peruse?
already went over my problems last week.
Don't do that.
It's on.
At some point in time, if you could make her a policy and procedures, when we go into summer hours, which I've never liked summer hours, I'd rather just keep going at it. There's so much stuff to do. If we can go through policies and procedures, we don't have a book. We have a book right here, but it's not published and it's not been approved. There's a lot of stuff in there from the 70s, a lot of stuff in there that we didn't look at. I mentioned last week, Mr. Lavasher and I were both veterans. We had been the first 2 veterans that had been on the Board of Selectmen, I think, since 1920 when we first started. One of the things that we were discussing when he first became a selectman was we had somebody that wanted to put up I forget whether it was a commemorating the overturning of Roe versus Wade or whatever. They wanted to put a flag up on our flagpole. And we said, flags are for state and federal only. So we actually made a policy that all town-owned flagpoles shall display the state and federal flags only. That does take out your MIA, that does take out the back to blue, to back to fire and all of that. But if they have their own flagpole, they can fly whatever they want. But on town-owned, just so that you don't, we saw a policy from the town of Amherst. They have a flag committee and anybody can ask to have any flag flown over all town offices and buildings for a week. I mean, you can do the Irish flag for St. Patrick's Day and you do the Mexican flag for Cinco de Mayo and you do, the Italian flag for Columbus Day. And it's like, let's just state and federal. And, if you agree with that policy and we want to approve that, to go into the book, just a whole bunch of stuff like that. We worked on part-time sick hours. I don't know how that affected the full-time sick hours. I wanted to bring up full-time sick hours. Are you familiar with what we have for full-timers right now?
I'm not. No.
We're following the state policy, which is 15 days per year. What gets a little sticky is what's a day? Because we have firemen or paramedics that work a 24 and a 16. If we converted the amount of hours to, the amount of days to hours, That way, if you're on a 24-hour shift and you want to take 24 hours of sick time, that's fine. It just comes off your 24 hours of sick time. So instead of getting 15 days a year, you get X number of hours. I know the state, you accumulate sick hours when you're on vacation and when you're on sick time. So if we just go with hours worked, so you take the amount of hours that you work, have it work out to be 120 hours, which is the 15 days. We're not taking anything away. We're just trying to we're trying to account for them a little better. I have talked to the treasurer. We did have a policy that all sick, vacation, personal time will be displayed on your paycheck stub. She's not able to do it with certain departments. I would like to have her come in and find out who's not cooperating so that we can have it. I worked for the federal government. I worked at a grocery store. I worked for the different elevator companies. I worked for the state. I've always had my hours on my pay stub. It's just confusing not to have how many hours you have left. You know, you're getting down towards the end of the year, you still got 4 hours of personal time, you take it so you don't lose it. You know, how much sick time do you have? It'd be nice to know. It's public information. You know, we're paying, you know, 8 million in a budget that we're going to be approving on June 10th. It'd be nice to know how much, you know, how much sick time do we have accrued? One of the things that we got bagged on with one of our audits was actuarials. And if you ever talk to Sean Richards, ask him about actuarials, his eyes will light up and he will go into a dissertation about actuarials.
How do you spell actuarial?
You've got to fake it.
Okay.
He'll know exactly what it is and he will be excited.
Send him a text.
IAL, actuarial.
Right now, this second, how much payroll do we have tied up in vacation, sick, and personal time? Oh, well, the actuarials is what the auditor is looking for so that we know what our liability is looking forward. If we have, for instance, somebody has 6 weeks of sick time and they take it all at once, 6 weeks of vacation time to take it all at once, do we fill in for that person, or is that just a hit and miss on that particular job, or are we bringing in per diems? So we need to know what our actuarials are. And it also gets into the retirement. What's kind of retirement, if you look in your book, does she have the explanations in her book, do you know? You look up what's kind of retirement, it's like page 41. And it's got a whole thing on how they factor in what we are paying to Worcester County Retirement. There's something like 139,000 that the members contribute, 159,000 that we contribute, and then another 220,000 for penalties because we didn't pay enough in 1972, where they put all their money in beta, or whatever it was. They made some less than stellar investments, and they don't have enough money to pay for retirement. So now all the cities and towns are playing catch up.
Okay.
And if you think about $400,000 that we're putting into Worcester County Retirement on a $1.6 million payroll, that's an extra 25%. So actuarials is one of the things that the auditors are looking at. So we don't have a final report from the auditors yet, do we? Okay. We will have to do another federal audit next year because we have money from the EPA, federal funding. So. All right. Finally, the Boston Post Quarter Study.
I don't know if you want to participate in it. I say no. Move on.
There is an issue we have with the Boston Post monument up across from mile marker 63. It is the mile marker 63 from Fort Ticonderoga to Concord. And it was hit and broken, and it is not town property, and it's not on town property.
Yeah, did anyone speak to Mass DOT about that yet?
I have not asked
Other?
lately,
Okay.
but it is one of those things where it's not on town property. All of North Brookfield Road is a state road, and so are sidewalks. So if it's on that, we're not. I know we got permission from the DOT to put up the welcome to East Brookfield sign, because that is actual state property that is on at the North Brookfield, East Brookfield line. So
Okay.
we need permission to do something with that. Troop 238 is pleased and privileged to request your participation in the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Noah Clark. This young man has been demonstrated leadership, dedication, and commitment to the ideals of scouting and is truly worthy of the rank of Eagle. The Court of Honor will be held Sunday, June 14th, 2 p.m., Mary Queen of the Rosary. We would be honored to have you or your representative join us to make presentation in Noah. And this is from Gene Josty.
Through the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to, I'm still see him from time to time, but obviously as he's older, but I've had the privilege of helping him towards the start of his journey. I was a troop guide. So when he crossed over into the troop, I sort of helped him out. And then, he's an incredible young man, and I just wanted to put that out and put my sincerest congratulations.
Thank you. Have you been to an Eagle Scout ceremony?
Not for a long time.
I had the privilege of going to the Eagle Scout ceremony for Cody Josty. He was one of our daycare kids. He got dropped off at our house when he was like 5 days old. And I've known him ever since. And I was privileged to participate in his Eagle Scout ceremony. Do you know Noah?
I don't.
Okay. So if you're not interested, I'd be more than happy to go to the ceremony. If we could have some type of certificate or letter or something that we can frame. From what I remember, there's like a hand truck and boxes of certificates. Peter Durant usually does one from the Senate. There's usually one from the governor's office. There's one from the House of Representatives, Board of Selectmen, Spencer, Board of Selectmen, East Brookfield. Everybody gives them a little plaque or something for remembrance. So if we can get something. And Jean Josty is the
Do you want me to reach out to
owner.
her attend, or you will be?
What's that?
Do you want me to reach out to her to you, or?
Yeah, if you would, that would be great. I will attend that. So let me put that on here real quick so I don't forget. All right, is that all we have for this evening?
Go back to that Boston, what are you gonna do on that? Are you gonna participate? Or-
Boston Post Road, I'm not interested at this time. I don't know if you
Just for Europe.
want to jump into something else.
I feel like we have a lot going on right now. But
Yeah.
definitely with CMRPC.
You're going to say that next year and the year after, so.
Let's see. I just want to know what the study is real quick.
Is that Father's Day?
That is that? That's what I want. Yeah, I'll say pass.
All right, just real quick, some of the stuff that we've had on other forever. If you look back through the history of the water department, Joe Perry was a longtime highway superintendent, and Paul Kudemarsh was a longtime water superintendent. When Mr. Perry retired, late 70s, early 80s, they asked Mr. Kudemarsh to be superintendent of highway and water. At that point in time, the water commissioners were put out to pasture. They changed the town bylaws and they eliminated the positions, and it no longer became a priority. I have advocated for water commissioners for years now, since the water and highway separated again. The school committee is worried about the schools and only the schools. They don't really get into the impact of taxes and all of that. They're advocates for the school. I think it's very important to have water commissioners that advocate for the water so that they're just concentrating on water. It's a bylaw change, so it would have to be done at annual town meeting. So it would be something that we can discuss over the course of the year and hopefully take it up next year. I just feel that the water commissioners, we're one of the only towns around that don't have water commissioners.
Brookfield does, North Brookfield.
Yeah, I just feel it's important to have water commissioners so that they're not, as you know, you've come to a number of meetings now. There's stuff that just comes up and it's time consuming and takes a lot of time away. And if we had a board that just worried about water, I think it would go a long way. You know, we still have a lot of construction work to do. We have some upcoming events that we have to do. You know, the main line down to the well house was put in 73. It is now 53 years old, and the life expectancy is 50 to 70 years. So in the next 20 years, we have to do that. That's probably, in today's dollars, a $4 or $5 million project. We still haven't done anything about North Brookfield Road. We haven't done anything about Lashway Drive extension. You know, Evergreen Street needs to be done. Cove Street, House Street. You know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need to do some planning for that. And we also need to make sure that we have the funding available so that when we can go for a grant, we need to be a viable system. We need to have funds available, and we need to have a capital management plan, which we need to hop on that because, you know, I mean, nothing's getting any better. There's an 8-inch pipe that was put in 1903 going up North Brookfield Road. We noticed tuberculation. It's losing diameter. Needs to be changed. The Lashway Drive extension, Lashway Circle, that's all AC pipe. That needs to be swapped out. So
quick question,
Yeah.
just make sure I'm on the same page. The bylaws we have currently have not been reviewed, changed, or updated since 95. Is that correct?
that is correct.
All right, so my question is, in the bylaws of 95, a water commission is laid out, but it's really not clear as to who and what that should be, because if you look under the selectmen, it does not state that the selectmen are the water commissioners either. So
The selectmen took it over in the early 80s, late 70s, whatever it was.
when you say by a bylaw change, are we changing to state that we want the water commission that's mentioned in the bylaws,
We
or?
need to establish the commission. We need to establish the board members, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm just wondering what it would look like as a change in
They
here.
were elected positions and they've been eliminated. So we need to put those back in.
Back into
And
place. Okay.
if, for instance, on May 15th next year, we wanted to have water commissioners, there would be one that would be a 1-year position, a 2-year position, a 3-year position to stagger the 3.
Okay.
Or we could just establish a commission and appoint 3 members. Appoint 1 member for 1 year, 1 member for 2 years, 1 member for 3 years. And then when their appointment is up, they would have to be elected.
So say, I personally think they should be elected. That's just my personal opinion. We can get there when we get there. But say, for instance, as we know in this town, not a lot of people pull ballots or, papers or want to get nominated. If we had an elected position, we want it to be done through an election, but no one did it. Then do we have to have a special town meeting to
No,
appoint?
then you would appoint. The
Okay.
only one that we'd have to have a special election for is Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
The Board of Selectmen is the only position in town that can't be appointed. For instance, we had an election and nobody ran for tree warden.
Oh, yeah.
So we can appoint a tree warden, which we've done
Okay. every
year since. I don't know if we had anybody elect. I didn't look. It's my fault. I didn't look. Did anybody get appointed for cemetery or for?
There was a woman, I would have to go back and look, but there was someone written in. She had quite a.
Right. If you have more than 5, it's a legitimate write-in. No, you have to have 5.
I don't know, I have to look.
You have to have 5, and then they have to accept the position.
Yes. I don't.
Sandy Buxton was written in. She got 35 votes for town collector, and Sandy swore right at us. She wouldn't take it. So we had to have, we found somebody to appoint until the next year when she ran. So we can, I would love to discuss it. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. If we had 3 people that educated themselves and were passionate about water, I think we'd get a whole lot more done. The nuts and bolts of it are who sets the water rates. I don't know in Spencer or Brookfield or North Brookfield who sets the water rates, if it's still the Board of Selectmen that does it, or if it's the water commissioners make a recommendation and then the Board of Selectmen either takes it or doesn't take it, so.
So for it to be basically a bylaw change, that have to be done at annual town meeting? Could it be done? at
Bylaw change
special?
have to be done at annual town meetings,
Okay.
but if it's in the bylaws,
Which
we'll have to
it
look
is,
at
that's,
it.
yeah,
Well, I would like to have,
because it doesn't, it's not clear.
right,
At
but
all.
if we have KP Law.
Yep.
And Recap look at it. Recap, they specialize in this kind of stuff. While we're on the subject of Recap and water, what are we going to do about the capital management plan?
Yeah.
Jake's sanitary survey he did said that it's mandatory that he has a capital management plan. We put in for a grant through the SRF program for having a capital management plan done. I believe it was 65 or 64,000. And of all the projects that were funded through that grant, we missed it by 2.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
we appealed it and, said, we haven't had one done and we need to have one. And the sanitary service says we have to have one. And we just got out from being under DEP's thumb. We'd really like to get this grant. And they said, tough. So being 65,000, it's over the amount that we could put in for a repeated grant, the earmark. It's over the amount of earmark that he could do. So I'm wondering if we need to make sure that we have enough money in retained earnings
For him to-
that we can do a capital management plan. And also we need to firm up the numbers for the patch that we have to do on Route 9, because that has to be covered by the water department, because we can't pay for it out of
Chapter 90,
maintenance
right?
of town roads because it's not a town road. We can't do it out of Chapter 90 because it's not a town road. So it would have to come out of retained earnings. So we need to make sure that we have enough money for retained earnings, and we need to make sure that we have enough money for a capital management plan. Recap said they could do it, but they wouldn't be in a timely manner.
And when's his deadline? Does Jake have a deadline to have that established?
We can bring that up with him tomorrow. That
Okay.
would be a good question to ask him. Once again, tomorrow at 1:30, Ty and Bond and all the contractors, everybody will be there. If you want to come down there at noontime or 12:30
That'd be better, yeah.
and have a look around and see exactly what we're getting into.
I'll just see what time my kids have testing. Hold on. I think 12 would be better. I think their testing's at 1:30. Tomorrow, who has testing? Standardized testing week at my house, so yeah, that would be perfect because they don't test till 1:45.
Yeah.
So
We want to make sure that we're not shorting ourselves on retained earnings.
So kind of just real quick, so I have a clarification. I feel like what Donna was saying and what you were told is still very unclear about. So it's who, I thought Bob was going to follow, and maybe he did, and he's just not here to say, but I feel like we still need clarification onto how those funds can be used. Because like you said, I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to think it's one way and then pay it that way, and then it comes back and bites you in the butt.
Because this is a brand new grant,
There's no clarification. I
and it
understand.
is a federal and state grant. We're told by our state senator that we were awarded, and he made a press release. And then 6 months later, we were told that it was awarded to us. And then, what was it, 3 weeks ago, the governor had a press conference and said that she awarded the money. So I'm a little confused on,
Has Mary been doing most of the communication?
Yes.
Okay. Is she the person that we should be like getting a final answer from?
we're talking to her tomorrow.
Is she going to be there
She'll be
tomorrow?
there at the
Okay.
meeting. So
That's one of the things I think.
that's one of the things I'm like, hey, what is going on with this grant? Because if it's a true grant and it's free money, that's great. But we just want to make sure that we're jumping at the right time to make it through the hoop. You don't want to jump over the hoop, and you don't want the hoop to hit you in the head. And, it's $500,000. It's a lot of money. We want to make sure we're doing it right. And from square one, we're told it's not a reimbursable grant. However, now that the grant's been awarded, maybe they'll reimburse now. I know we can't fund it through SRF because they won't reimburse the SRF, but if they can reimburse us for available funds that we pay out of, then that's fine. We just want to clarify
That's the
that.
part that needs to be clarified, yes.
We're not going to put it on our SRF funding. What we need to check with, if these are the number 18 and 19 that Jake has already signed for, that they automatically go through SRF. We want to make sure that the $496,800 that we've been approved of those invoices, that those are still not paid for by SRF.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we get the funding.
Okay, I didn't know she was gonna be there tomorrow, so perfect.
All right, so we're not meeting next week unless you feel that you would like to. So
Be at Podunk, at what time do you usually get there for?
for the 9:30, I usually get there around 9:15 or so.
I'll just contact Heather to let her know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So the payroll warrants are need to be signed by at least 2 of us every week,
Okay.
as well as the payable warrants. So they will be here on Tuesday morning if you want to swing by and grab them.
Okay.
Now, as far as our meeting on the June 1st, Bob prefers the meeting at 7. Do you have a preference?
I don't care. Later is better, so it doesn't matter to
The
me.
reason we changed it to 6, most of the other selectmen's meeting in the area are at 6, and our department heads, want to get home and get to bed.
Yep.
Selectman Lavasher worked construction, and he got up at 2:30 every morning. He's on the job site at 5 a.m. So we changed it to 6 o'clock to accommodate him. So if we'd like to post for June 1st and beyond for 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. How does that affect you and your hours?
A long day.
Welcome to the select board.
And later that day, on Mondays, you.
Somehow I'm gonna have to, because I can't go to
Yeah.
19.5.
So since you're not familiar with the warrants, these are the warrants that get put to us every week.
Okay.
And talking to the auditor only catches 4% of fraud.
Yep.
The Board of Selectmen catches 80%. So it's on us to know exactly what we're signing. So for instance, this one right here, it's a salary, and you can look up some documentation back here. Here's Jake, okay? And here's his, so I mean, you have everything right here, each individual person. Here's the clerk, and that's what they get. And, so,
To make sure it all matches.
well, it's just, you're responsible, you're signing this, you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're signing and why.
You said next Tuesday these will be in, right?
Next Tuesday will be in because we won't meet, obviously, on one day. If there was a reason that we needed to come in, we could meet on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think it's I think North Brookfield meets on a Saturday, once a month or something.
Oh, to do all these?
I don't know. I just know that they usually meet on Tuesdays, I think.
Just put next Tuesday payroll warrant, so I remember to come down.
They're usually available like anytime after 9.
Perfect. Okay.
This is the one that, the payable warrant that you kind of need to pay attention to. So
Is this the one she sent the email about?
I don't know if it's in here or not, because this is the one that had the requisition 18 and 19.
Okay, yep.
Last week she pulled them out. Yeah, see, this is it right here. So it's $258,000 to Winston Builders for recreation,
18 and 19?
rec 18 and 19. Okay, here's the 2 of them, and it's the total amount.
Okay.
Okay, so like this one right here, Wind Waste. So this is solid, the Wheelabrator contract. We're under contract with them. Wheelabrator, we pay directly, and
Okay.
that's a per ton per week. And then Republic is the one that hauls the trash, and then there's dumpsters that get emptied, et cetera, et cetera. So as you look at this, your highway repair and maintenance, here's all this stuff, library repairs, library books, so you
Yeah.
you just look at everything we had. So did you have that Mass General Law reference? Is it in the folder? Okay.
Oh, the one she gave last week, rattled off at hyperspeed. Yeah, that one. I was wondering if anyone got it. I'm like, I didn't get the number.
Well, I know she had it on the recording, so I texted her this morning and asked her if she could put it in there, just so we had it for reference. Is it in the FYI?
Teachers
Yep,
information.
that's all.
All right, making sure.
Also, then was showing Richard the set.
The policy,
Policies as well.
I read that,
I
yep.
put it together. both of them.
Yeah. So he had discussed with me after the meeting, through the chair, he can go with recognition as a former official who has knowledge of the subject being discussed.
Okay, yep.
And I said, yeah, I should have piped up. I'd have recognized, you know, what's been done in the past, so.
It would be nice if we could get a policy book, like you said, work on that, so that every department has the same exact information. It's, and I know it's time consuming, I cannot imagine, but
Well,
I'd be more than happy to try to help you.
I've got what I've been hoping for since I've been.
Yeah, and I know Sean Richards did mention that there were a lot of policies, if anyone's looking for them, that they had, that we can
a
always.
lot
look
of
at,
policies, procedures that are somewhere in a file.
just somewhere.
What we're looking for, what she has assembled for us, is what she could find.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that was done in minutes, like the
Yes.
flagpole, which I asked her to pull out, and I remember that one was near and dear to my heart. There's others that we discussed over the years. 2 audits ago, we got a memo that on July 1st every year, the treasurer should supply to the Board of Selectmen, being the highest authority in town, a list of all employees and their salary or wage, so that we know who's working for us. One of the other things is, if you're working for 2 different departments, by Mass General Law, being a municipality, you have to be paid the same rate. So if we have somebody that plows snow for us and mows the lawn, it has to be at the same rate. If we have somebody that's a clerk in one office and clerk in another office, it has to be at the same rate, clerks, clerks, clerks. So we want to know who's working for us, and then we have to keep track of the 19 and a half hours. If anybody works 20 hours, is subject to vacation, personal, sick, and health insurance. Right now, the health insurance is just an astronomical expense. It's something like $35,000 per family plan that we pay, and then another $11,000 that the participant pays. So $48,000 a year for insurance is just mind-blowing. I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Mass Medical Health Plus, and it's not a quarter of that. So, but the municipalities were subject to certain rules and regulations. One of the things we can't do is we can't have a PPO, because by Mass General Law, we have to cover any dependents of family members that are out of the PPO district. In other words, if your kids went to the University of Miami, you still got to cover them. If you're on vacation to Montana and you fall off a sidewalk and shatter your elbow, yeah, health insurance has to cover it. So, you know, there's good and bad parts of it, but it is astronomically expensive for the towns.
I was here for one of those meetings. Did we end up going through a deductible plan this time?
We went to a deductible plan this time,
Yep.
and we have the reimbursement for the deductibles, which is allowed under Mass General Law. So if you take the lowered premium and add the deductible reimbursement, we're still saving 6% this year.
So even reimbursing those deductible
even with
fees.
one more person on the plan, it's actually going down because of the reimbursement.
And how do they submit for those reimbursements? Do they have to bring their bill that they paid a deductible portion?
Just the portion of the bill that they paid.
Okay.
We do not want to have any medical information because of HIPAA regulations.
Yeah, are
We
they,
just want to say, you know, I went to the doctor to get my bill.
do they just come in after, or is it like a timely, like are they every month, every week? Or
Well, the treasurer's here on Tuesdays and
So they
Thursdays.
just
If
come
you go
in
to
and
the
give them
doctor's on Monday, you come in Tuesday and say, hey, here's my,
Okay.
here's the check I paid yesterday for my deductible.
Okay.
And they would add it as a reimbursement in the next pay period.
Okay.
So it's not taxable. It's not subject to which kind of retirement or any of that. So it's
Okay.
just a straight reimbursement.
Because I was here and I never followed, I didn't hear the follow-up, so I was wondering, because I remember them saying that deductible plan.
We did sign that, and that is
Okay.
our new
Okay.
contract for the coming.
Good to know.
fiscal year. So it's just, we were one of the last towns that
That's what she
did
was
not
saying,
have deductible, which we had asked about it through finance probably 20 years ago. Is there
Okay.
anything else we can do? What is the cost savings that we can have? We've kicked around a bunch of different ideas. One of them is we will pay the 75% of the lower option And if you want the utmost option, then you'd have to make up the
Contribute
difference.
it. Okay.
You know, different towns do it different ways. I know some towns it's 75-25 while you're working, and it's 65-35 when you're retired. One of the things we don't have that we should have when we're talking about policies and we get into health insurance is to mandate that once the employee and dependents are both over 65, we mandate that we only pay the supplemental. In the past and presently, we are paying full boat for people that are well over 65, which as a policy, we don't need to. By Mass General law, we don't need to. And I mean, that's a tremendous amount if you're talking about the supplemental being $3,000 a year and
I've
health
seen that a
insurance
lot
being
cheaper.
$48,000 a year.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
when you turn 65, you're on Medicare. Whether you sign up for it or not, you're on Medicare. So,
Sure, job to find out your supplemental. Yeah, exactly.
right. But I mean, we can pay the supplemental, or 75% of the
Oh,
supplemental.
it's a huge cost savings compared to paying the full insurance.
It would save us
Yeah.
30,000 or so if they're on family plan. Unfortunately, we don't have a +1. I thought that was very strange.
So it's only family or single?
Yeah.
Really?
Not a +1. So we asked Maya and they said, no, they don't offer it. They
That's
don't
weird.
offer a +1. So once the kids are out of the house and they're off on their own and it's just the two of you, you're still playing family plan. That's
See, my husband's, his
That's a
work
lot.
offers 3 of them. That's crazy. They offer them
most
one.
private employers have
Yeah,
the 3.
they do.
So that you can go from family plan to the +1.
Save yourself. Interesting. Right. Cool.
Did you have anything else for this evening?
That's it.
Check the FYI real quick. We have all the paperwork for CMRPC right now that we know of. I wanted to bring up the forester that contacted us. I had contacted the state forester. He's an older gentleman. He's in semi-retirement. He's not taking any more projects. We bought the Pelletier property, familiar with that? On House Street.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
So we bought a tree farm to prevent it from going into development. I believe the purchase price was $600,000. We got $400,000 from the Department of Reclamation and Recreation, DCR. And we paid $200,000 and we own the piece of property. We got the grant for purchasing the property because it is prime migratory habitat for a variety of wildlife. We use it for recreational purposes. And at some point in time, we should look at a cutting plan. We don't want to clear cut the whole thing, but we do want to cut it to make it prime migratory habitat.
Yeah.
I know there's certain plans that I've been involved in that the landowners want to have it for bird habitat. So they cut 5 acres and leave 5 acres, and then 10 years later, they cut that 5 acres, leave the other 5 acres, et cetera, et cetera. So we would like to know what our options are for conservation. We're not really looking for income. If we get income, that's great. But we don't want to clear cut it to make as much money as we can, but we would like to make it prime habitat. We want to make sure that we're taking out any hazardous trees so that people are hiking up there and they don't get harmed. So I would like to entertain at some point in time having a forester come in and talk to us whether or not it would cost us anything, or he would take his portion out of any proceeds from the forestry activity. It would be nice to come up with a cutting plan. We'll do this 25 acres and then that 25 acres and, come up with a plan. We have no plan. We've owned it for 27, 28 years, something like that. We haven't done anything with it. So actually the tree warden is the custodian of all shade trees on public or municipal property. So the tree warden would be involved in the discussion, but we still would like to have a disinterested third party go up and look at it and say, you're good, or, you should harvest, or,
Okay.
just to get the ball rolling. I know I looked into forestry on my property. It's like $4,200 for a cutting plan. Whether you cut any trees or not, it's $4,000 to have them look at it. And then to have it cut, it's somewhere between $250 and $300 an acre. So it's like a third of what you'd get for harvesting just for the forester to go.
Just
for
to
the
show
cutting
up
plan.
there,
So,
yeah.
It's something we should look at. We could probably talk about it over the summer and see if we want to have them come in. It's obviously no funding for it, but if we can get funding through the harvesting of wood and then determine whether or not we want to take those funds and put it back into the property or put it into the general fund. That's a discussion we can have with our financial team. Like I said, we're not looking to make 10 grand by destroying the property, but at some point in time, we need to discuss whether or not we're going to harvest some timber off of that, just to make it better for the wildlife.
Okay.
Do you want me to get him in?
If you could see if he's available, just get a feel whether or not, he's the first guy I was talking to was a state forester. He works for the state and he's not a private employee. This is a private employee that he got our information from the state forester.
Okay.
We have no funding. There's no budget line item. There's no money for that, but we should delve into it to see exactly what we need to do to move forward. We don't want to have a piece of property with, a bunch of fallen trees that's going to be a fire hazard. And then, have the state fire marshal come in and say, you have 90 days to, just to try to keep on top of it. Did you have anything else this evening?
I have nothing.
Would you like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to adjourn our meeting. Is that right? It's working finally?
I had asked for new clocks and,
Okay.
Point of information, 7:51.
Thank you. I will make a motion
Yeah,
to
it's-
adjourn the meeting at 7:51.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Um,
It's actually working.
Yeah, warden of the elections changed.
Oh,
Is this a meeting?
Meeting is adjourned.
She's like,
Well.